Okay, and we're back. The Metallist here once again. So as predicted, yeah, I found 5 more records real fast that you should own. That's for sure. Again, some of these are kind of mainstream. You'll be like, well, yeah, of course. You know, other ones you're like, who are those guys? You know, so hopefully we can turn you on to something new. That'll be cool, right? So we'll start off with one that, I think pretty much everybody agrees on. Of course, the mighty Rainbow Rising. This album blew my freaking mind when I heard it. Okay. So this was back in the time Deep Purple had broken up, and I was about ready to go on a 3-state killing spree because of that. But nonetheless, there it was. So Richie formed this Rainbow thing, which was basically Richie Blackmore replacing the guitar player in the band Elf, which I did happen to see Elf open for Deep Purple back in like 1974. Yeah, I'm that old, I admit it. All right, so anyway, so the first album comes out, Richie Blackmore's Rainbow. It's good, a little low-key affair. And then this one comes out, that's a cool cover, I'll buy this record. And for whatever reason, this is back in the days of albums. So there's only 6 songs on this. There's 4 songs on side 1. There's 2 songs on side 2. For some reason, I dropped the needle on side 2 first. And I'm greeted with a tune called Stargazer. Good God. Unfreaking believable. The first thing ripping through the speakers is the mighty Cozy Powell with just this drum intro from hell. You know, and then here's a song. It's 8 minutes long. It's about some wizard that convinces all these people to build a tower so he can get up to the top of it and fly away. And it doesn't fly away. And the cool part is, and I've never heard anybody mention this, but I've always thought this, Richie's solo starts kind of low. And as the solo progresses, and it's a long solo, but one of his best, absolutely. And it keeps going higher and higher and higher and higher. Finally, he gets these really high notes. And right at the end of the high notes, it goes, meow, 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 like the guy's falling off the cliff. And he's not flying. You know, and then some of the lyrics says that, oh, I see the figure of the wizard as he climbs to the top of the world. No sound as he falls instead of rising. Time standing still and there's blood on the sand. That's cool stuff, because I'm not a lyric guy. I can't quote you many lyrics, but I can quote you those. Okay. And of course, you know, Richie Blackmore, I mean, my favorite guitar player ever. He just is. And then the mighty Ronnie James Dio, of course. Like I said, the first album, you know, I liked Dio, and then when I saw Elf, didn't remember anything about Elf except I thought the singer was really good. He was. So, but yeah, those 3 guys in the same band together, that's just ridiculous. Then it's followed up with what I would call one of the dawns of power metal, called A Light in the Black, with Cozy just, you know, cranking on the double bass drums and just, it sounds like power metal, but this is 1976. So there wasn't a whole lot that sounded like that, but boy, there was a lot of stuff that came along later, mostly from Europe and Germany. Germany primarily have a lot of power metal bands. So that's kind of where this came from. But those 2 tracks alone are worth the price of admission. And again, the other side, good stuff. Terror Woman, amazing song. Run with the Wolf is good. Starstruck, yeah, I'm okay with it. And Do You Close Your Eyes, I'm okay with that one too. But it's only 3 minutes long. I can survive it. But again, one of my favorites for sure. You know, like I say, top 10 all time, definitely. Game changer. Game changer. If you don't know this one, also, I mean, if you go on to other YouTube sites, there's like a whole bunch of people that have done reaction videos to this song, and they're just like, this is unbelievable. It's like, yeah, I know. I'm good. Okay. So Rainbow. So from there, we go from R to S. This is one for the locals in the Cleveland area. Okay. Had this on vinyl for years. Used to go see these guys in the bar. I'm going to put it on this side this time. Go for the Throat. This is a Cleveland band called Shock Paris. So back in the 80s, there was 2 bands worth talking about in Cleveland. Shock Paris was one of them. The other one was some guys called Breaker. And Breaker's pretty awesome. I'm sure at some point I'll be talking about them as well. So this, like I said, was an independent release on Allburn Records. Shout out to Bill Peters, who owns Allburn Records. I assume he still does. And so this was their sort of independent album. From this, they actually did get a major record deal. They put out 2 more albums. One was called Steel and Starlight. The other one was called Concrete Killers. And I did see them doing an opening slot. I assume they were doing a national tour with Sabotage, which is another amazing band. Sabotage, for those of you that don't know, kind of morphed into being the Trans-Siberian Orchestra. But we'll have a discussion on them on another day. But yeah, this is just some good down and dirty rock and metal. This is some good stuff. Plus, this particular CD has bonus tracks because back in that time, there was one of the first satellite stations was a station called Z-Rock. And Z-Rock had these guys live on the air one time, and they put those tracks on here too. So there's a whole live album in addition to the regular record. So this is a good one if you can find it. And this is on Auburn Records. So you might check out their website, auburnrecords.com, and see if these are still available. I don't know. But like I say, the folks in the Cleveland area are like, oh yeah, I remember those guys. So that's kind of an obscure one, but yeah, definitely worth mentioning. Cool. All right, so we had R, we have S. Here we go to T. T as in Thin Lizzy. All right. So everybody always knows Jailbreak and that kind of stuff, and that's great. Some people talk about this one, the Black Rose album, because Gary Moore's on it. And a lot of people think Gary Moore was like in Thin Lizzy for a very long time, and he wasn't. You know, everybody said, "Oh, Gary Moore from Thin Lizzy." I'm like, he was there a little bit. You know, of course, he's got a lot of killer solo stuff on his own. Check that stuff out as well. But this was the album I was thinking about. This was after Gary Moore. This is probably the greatest, in my opinion, the greatest finale album of any band I know. Thunder and Lightning. So they brought in John Sykes from the mighty Tigers of Pantang, another great new wave of British heavy metal band. I'll get it. So John Sykes came in on guitar, and then we still have, of course, Scott Gorham and Brian Downey, and of course the amazing Philip Paraslina, one of my all-time heroes. So this album was the last album they released. They went on a farewell tour. They broke up after that, and unfortunately 3 years later we lost Phil forever. But this is an amazing album, very metallic. The opening song, Thunder and Lightning, the title track, almost reminds you of Motorhead. It's like just that fast and furious and just great stuff. Good stuff. Okay. Sun Goes Down is a nice ballad on here. The Holy War, amazing groove on that one. Cold Sweat is just Sykes tearing it up for leads. It's good stuff. Baby Please Don't Go. I mean, just amazing songs all over this thing. Okay. Well, one of the interesting things, and a little bit eerie, is the last song is called Heart Attack. And the chorus in it, Phil keeps singing, Mama, I'm Dying. A little weird because as anybody that knows about Phil Lynott knows that he was very tight with his mom. So kind of a weird way for them to end their career as far as, you know, the track listing on this thing. But again, like I said, anybody that's into Thin Lizzy, you guys already know this album's amazing. So that's the one for that. Okay, so I've already talked about Strangers in the Night, my favorite band being UFO. So the classic lineup reunited in 1995 and put out Walk on Water. And pretty much these guys could walk on water at that point. This is amazing. And it was just great to have Neil Schenker back in the band and Andy Parker. As you can see, I've got several of the guys' signatures on here. And the cool part about it was that I was working at a record shop at the time, Digital Days in Akron, Ohio. And this album was only available from Japan. So this version of this album was like $35. Okay. And when the guy that owned the store ran his reports for the end of the year for 1995, he said, you know, Walk on Water was one of my top 50 sellers of the year. And it was $35 a piece. At that time, you know, most CDs are about $10. So yeah, pretty awesome stuff. So in the back here, I got a few souvenirs. Okay, I didn't actually get this pick from Michael. This came with the record, but I do have some picks from Michael. And then down here, they're a little hard to see these days. But here's a couple tickets. I saw these guys in Cleveland, of course, and I saw them at Bogart's in Cincinnati with a good buddy of mine. Shout out to my buddy Chuck. And we had one heck of a time. Matter of fact, we came back from that show, and we walked into his house, and his wife looks at the two of us, and she goes, "Are you guys okay?" We're like, "Yeah, we had an awesome time. What's up?" She says, "You look like you were mugged." We kind of laughed. It's like, no, but we had a really good time. So kind of tells you how much we were sort of banging to that particular set. But yeah, this is an amazing record. There's different formats of this. It finally did come out domestically in '98, so it took a little time. But this is the version that I originally got back in '95. Self-Made Man is an amazing song. Venus is awesome. They still play Venus a lot in the live set. Matter of fact, they played Venus the last time I saw them in 2020, right before the COVID thing tore everything up. Push to the Limits, awesome. Darker Days, Running on Empty. Dreaming of Summer almost sounds like Love to Love Part 2, if you're familiar with that song, of course. And then what was cool was they did 2 remakes of some old classics. Dr. Doctor and Lights Out are on here. What's nice about it is the production is a lot better on here than it was on the original recording. It's probably just because of the time and the technology. I mean, we're talking like 18 years after Lights Out came out. So I wish they would just redone all their records at that point. So the extra tracks are pretty amazing. But again, so yeah, Walk on Water is a must. Got to have that one for sure. All right, last on the list tonight, one you probably are not familiar with. Might be familiar with the singer, though. This little thing called Voodoo Hill. Okay, what is Voodoo Hill? Well, Voodoo Hill is an Italian guitar player named Dario Malo. Dario Malo also does albums with a guy, a vocalist, and the band's called The Cage. Okay, and the vocalist is Tony Martin, who is one of the unsung heroes of Black Sabbath, so I'm told. He had a long stint with Black Sabbath in the 80s and the 90s, but most people didn't care, and myself included, I'm sorry. I think he's a pretty good singer. He's kind of Dio-esque, but like I said, I mean, I know some of the songs I know I like, but I just, most of it just didn't catch me. But I do know a lot of people that really like Tony Martin. So that era of Black Sabbath, you might want to check that out too. This isn't Tony Martin. This one is the mighty Glenn Hughes, who is definitely one of my favorites. Glenn was a guy I saw the very first time, again in 1974, the same night I saw Ronnie James Dio. I saw Glenn Hughes. It was the Mark III version of Deep Purple with Glenn Hughes and the mighty David Coverdale. So I got to see him then. I got to see one of 6 shows he did with Black Sabbath in 1986. And unfortunately, Glenn had a little bit of a problem with powdering his nose from the inside, little nose candy issue. So they had to get him off the tour. I don't remember him sounding bad at the time, but apparently Tony Iommi thought so, so they sent him on his way. But anyway, this is a really cool record. Just again, some good, solid melodic hard rock. And like I said, if you like Glenn Hughes' voice, you're in. I mean, but Glenn Hughes is everywhere. Right now he's in a band called the Dead Daisies, which I understand is coming to town here in September, I believe. So I think I'm going to have to check that out since I haven't seen the man play in 35 years. I had a possible chance to see him play when he reunited with his band before Deep Purple called Trapeze in 1994, and I had to go out of town for my job. Yeah, I was pissed. But anyway, so check this album out. This is a good one, too. They actually have 2 other albums, so there's 3 albums under the title Voodoo Hill. But again, like I say, if you're a Glenn Hughes fan, this will be good for you, too. All right. That's it for round 2. I can see they're probably going to be around 3 at least, but we'll check it out at that point. Again, appreciate you guys listening. Hit the subscribe. Also, if your kids or your grandkids need help with math, I have Metallist Math. It's another channel. I've started posting some stuff there to help them out. So go check that out and have the kids check out and maybe learn something a little bit. And we'll go from there. Till next time. See ya.